Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love. Back with y'all. Speaking from my heart, speaking from my mind, sharing health information, sharing spiritual information, because at the end of the day, that's all life is about. Life is about being healthy and whole and ascending to a higher state, because there is no amount of money that can make you happy. No amount of money that can make you happy. And people must come to that realization. Sometimes you gotta just take a minute and let the words flow. You gotta take a minute to let the energy come in. Life is amazing. I want to talk about the fear associated with taking your health into your own hands. By taking your health into your own responsibility. There's a couple of stories I could share. From the most basically, I grew up in a normal household, just like many of you, where healing was, I guess, delegated to doctors and those outside of the home. And we hear talk about how, our parents, so 2 generations back, how they used to have these home remedies. And they used to use castor oil, and, the soups and the herbs, and they used to cleanse the children out all the time, and it kept them healthy. In today's society, most of us have been programmed to see the allopathic, meaning the hospitals, doctors, the status quo. We've been taught to see that as the primary way, and sometimes the only way, to heal from certain challenges. And I'll be the first to tell you, having birthed my children at home, I talk about that a lot because, man, it's so empowering. It gives one so much confidence. But even on a more simpler thing, say your child has, I remember when my son was young, and one day he just started throwing up. And to be honest, I don't really know to this day what was the exact reason of it. But I knew at that time that if I was any other parent, I would have been panicking, and I probably would have been ready to take my child to the emergency room. But to be honest, I've been fortified through really my spiritual path and just learning about the way the world really works. I mean, all the way from seeing things for what they really are, whether it's conspiracies or whether I'm piercing into, the spiritual realm to understand the way life really works, that fortified me. The path of righteousness, seeking understanding, and then finding it, and then admitting that it conflicted with what I knew, but then trusting that this newfound sight was higher, meaning the mind was over the matter and the spiritual understanding was over all those things, and believing in that and putting in actions to that fortified me to withstand a lot of mental stressors, a lot of mental agitations. So when I see my son coughing, throwing up, and I'm looking at my wife and we looking at each other and we like, hey, let's take a break. Let's look at this. Pat him on his back. Pat him on his back. We're not gonna rush to do anything. Let's see what happens. And really, it was nothing. I mean, the human body, man. I've studied it so much, and the anatomy and the physiology of the human body. Sometimes it's growing pains. You talk about that. I mean, it's as simple as your child is going to sleep at night and they wake up and they say, "Hey, my leg hurts," and they say, "Hey, that's growing pains." The growing pains. We're so sensitive or desensitized or unaware of just simple things like growing pains anymore. Now people get growing pains and they ready to take their child to the emergency room and say, "Hey, yeah, my son was saying that he got pain. I don't know what it is, but he's saying it hurt." Knowing your child too, knowing how they respond to certain things. I got 4 different children, so they all respond to different experiences differently. You got some that's more dramatic. You got some that's more mellow about it. Then you got the in-betweens. But just knowing that when you're on the spiritual path and you're actually on the path of learning about health, you get this extra sight that tells you, hey, don't panic. Let's see what happens. And nothing ever happened from that. He was okay. The day went on. He didn't have any other thing after that. It was like we didn't know what it was, but it was a growing pain. It was a growing thing. He was evolving. A lot of times evolution. There's a song I listen to by Donny Arcade. It's called "Never Give Up." They say, sometimes you find your greatness in the darkness, through tough time, hard things. But destiny is what got you through the blindness. He says, he says, sometimes you find your greatness in the darkness, but destiny, what got you through the blindness? Want to think and make it big, manifest and you will find it. Seasons pass, life is timeless. Confidence, humbleness, kindness, giving up so far behind us. Forbidden knowledge for the mindless. But it's about that darkness, that pain. Sometimes you find your greatness in the darkness, in the pain, man. That's just the way it is. And so, after that, it was nothing. It was nothing. We as humans tend to make things bigger than they are. I mean, and what really prompts me to make this video is, Sometimes your child might have a fever or a cough. But studying health, anatomy, and physiology, I know that that's what the body do to fight off any foreign thing that's trying to attack it or bring down its defenses. It coughs, it gets fever. That it was programmed into you by the Creator. It's a automatic self-defense mechanism, a self-defense system that was designed into you. And when you realize that, it's really no cause for, irrational thought. There's no cause for panic. And then when you also realize that there's herbs out there that can help assist the fever, because the fever comes and the body is trying to kill off something with heat. So it raises the temperature in the body, and that alone, the heat, the raising of the temperature, the heat kills off the microbes, the germs, the bacteria, the viruses that's attacking your system. And then you can complement that with immune boosting herbs. And you sit there, and I've been in this situation where one of my childs may have had a fever. And really, to be honest, it's only been one time really for each child, really, out of all their lives. My 7-year-old, only one time in her whole life she had a fever. And I didn't panic. I gave her herbs to boost her immunity. I gave her herbs that are called refrigerants or febrifuges. Febrifuges are herbs that help to reduce the temperature of the body to ward off fever. I gave her those. I used a cool towel and water, put it on her head, put it on her body, and just gave her herbs to boost immunity, and voila. Even when they like super duper hot, I know that's the point at which people begin to panic. Like they think that their child's life is at stake. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that taking your own health into your own hands can be scary. It can bring about a lot of fear, but fear is just, it's not real. It's because you're unsure. Fear is you being unsure of what happens next. That's it. And it exists in all these various paths of life. Fear of losing your job. Fear of going outside because you might catch a virus. Fear of someone may kill you. Fear, all types of fear. Fear that you won't be able to pay your bills. It's just because you don't know what's going to happen next. But you have faith. You that's how you kill fear. With faith, with practicing, with studying, and building up your own physical capabilities, your own spiritual capabilities, your own mental capabilities, and you come out on the other side like, everything's fine. I made it. My child is okay. I'm okay. I treated myself with herbs. I'm okay. I'm better. I get it. There's a fear associated with taking care of your own health. There was a fear associated with delivering my own children at home. Not having a midwife or a doula. No one. I share this story because it's just so beautiful. Really, I can honestly say I do not know any men who decided that they were going to birth their own children. I don't know. I don't know one man, one person that said, you know what, I'm not going to doctors. You know, not even this, it was an accident. Stuff happened, you had to call, because you hear about the stories where, oh, they were stuck in a taxi, or, you know, the water broke and it's about to happen now. They on the phone with the ambulance and the ambulance is coaching them through it. You know, no, this was intentional. And along the path, there were a lot of uncertain moments, a lot of moments where there was uncertainty. But when you truly believe in that really God put you in this position, you can work through the fear. Because fear is just you unsure of what's gonna happen next. But when you actually done the due diligence of studying, I'll never downplay the fact that if you was having a child at home, you need to do some real study. You need to do some real research, meaning not just reading books. You need to watch videos, you need to read books, you need to read articles, you need to be aware of the potential downfalls and pitfalls, but you don't need to be fearful. That shouldn't be enough to stop you. And what I'm saying is, I want to empower people to take their health into their own hands, knowing that there may be times of uncertainty and doubt, but knowing that if you actually study, knowing that, you know, if you know that other people are having success, then you can have success too. There's fear associated with taking your health into your own hands, taking your children's health into your own hands, taking your family's health into your own hands. And as the family doctor, really, the family herbalist, the one who is taking care of all the health needs of my family. We have not had insurance. There is no insurance because there is no need for it when you are aligned with your divine. I got a shirt on. You might can't see it right now. I don't know if I raise it up a little bit, but I wore this shirt today. It's called Align. It says align with your divine design. Man, when you do that, I promise, there is really no force that can stop you, man. You have to experience that to know that. So I'm really making this video to share with you that even myself, I've been in moments of fear, but I was able to have faith in what I've done, the research that I've done, the thousands of years of people using herbs, the fact that most of the drugs on the market today were synthesized from plants, and they isolated active ingredients and were able to patent those ingredients and make millions of dollars through the pharmaceutical market, because you can't patent God's creations. You can't patent dandelion. You can't patent contribo. You can't patent echinacea. You can't patent things that God created, the plants and the herbs that God created, because anyone can just grow them in their backyard, you know. And there's no pharmaceutical industry if that's the case. So I just want to encourage people that you can take your own health into your own hands, your family's health into your own hands, but you have to be serious about it, of course. You have to be sincere. You have to do your research. You have to take the time to study, you know, and then you'll gain the confidence. And as you move through certain situations, treating different things, small things to the more grander things, you build this confidence. It becomes unshakable. So whenever you approach with a issue, a health issue, whether you're having it or one of your children are having it, you know, then you're poised. You know that there's thousands and thousands of years of folkloric evidence of these herbs being used to treat this and that and pretty much everything under the sun. You know, even Dr. Sebi, you know, when someone like Dr. Sebi. This was like one of the icings on the cake for me. Years ago, studying Dr. Sebi and knowing that this guy was brought on charges by district attorneys and brought into a Supreme Court trial, a Supreme Court case, which became a landmark case because he claimed that he can cure all the uncurable diseases: diabetes, herpes, cancer, AIDS. All of these things he claimed could cure. He was brought in on a Supreme Court case. I saw this on CNN, you people, please. And I done my research. And the judge said, since you say that you can do all these things, you've done all these things, we need you to bring one of each one of these people in. Someone with AIDS, someone with diabetes, someone with herpes, someone with cancer, you know, and we want to see the medical doctor. 77 people came. Multiple people with multiple issues that were claimed to be uncurable, and they had diagnosis by independent doctors, not of his, their own doctors in their own states, wherever they come from. Then they went to go through his program, which he used only herbs to heal them. And then they went back and got diagnosed again, and they were free from their diseases and illnesses by their own doctor. They were tested for, and they showed negative. That was the eye opener to me for like, wow, it's happening out there. So it's up to you whether you want to believe it. It's up to you whether you want to start to take the step in the right direction to even give it the opportunity to see if it's a possibility that it can work, that something can work, something like a natural remedy can work. And I'm here